So we'll put out a Twitter poll in regards to what my next video on Hitman should be about, and the majority voted for me to voice my overall frustrations with the direction of Hitman 3. So, here it is. So my video on the roadmap for the season of Sloth wasn't very good overall. I didn't like that video. I didn't like the basically my overall view in that video. But it's just a culmination of frustrations that's been bubbling up over the past few months in regards to Hitman 3. Hitman 3 has the potential to be one of the best, if not the best, Hitman in the entire series since the beginning of time, when Codename 47 came out. And it's been massively let down over the course of the past couple of months or so, because, like I said, they can do so much stuff with this, but it feels like they're holding back, and I'm not completely sure what it is. It could be to do with the Steam release next year in January, or what, I don't know, because they've announced a few things in the past, even before the game came out, and they haven't lived up to those promises, and we don't really know what their ideas are going forward because they're not really revealing much. But yeah, let's get into it. So from the very top, what is the main frustration is the Deluxe Edition. At the top, well, not the main thing, but it's one of the things that is brought up a lot in the community. The Deluxe Edition and the pricing of it. Now, the Deluxe Edition overall for Hitman 3, I think it was £75. It was in the UK. I'm not completely sure the pricing in other countries, but for the UK in particular, it was £75. And that all the Deluxe Edition includes is the main base of the 5 maps and the Carpathian Mountains, or whatever the mission you want to call that. It's definitely not a map, either way. And the pricing for £75, you would expect quite a decent amount, especially when you compare it to the Hitman 2 Gold Edition. The Hitman 2 Gold Edition was £80, which is $79.99 to be exact, and that included, let's have a look, let me just off the top of my head, we had 2 bonus maps, which was the Haven Island and the Bank, which was excellent maps, by the way. We had 2 or 3 extra Sniper Assassin maps, I think if it was. We had a bunch of suit packs and stuff as well, which included the Snow Festival stuff. We had a specific mission for the Snow Festival. Was that free? I can't remember exactly what that was now, but I'm pretty sure that was free. But you had the Ghost Edition in the game as well, the Sniper Assassin stuff as well, and a whole bunch of unlockables in regards to the Gold Edition. I probably missed a few things out, but overall that's what you got. So you got pretty decent value for your money, overall, I thought. And when it comes to the Deluxe Edition this time, you would expect it to be on a similar level. I mean, it's £5 cheaper than it was in Hitman 2 of the Gold Edition. However, with the Deluxe Edition, when a lot of games, when you have a Deluxe Edition, it's usually around about £5 to £10 more expensive than the standard. But this one is overall about £25 above what the standard edition was, and I don't think it's worth that extra £25. So they are valuing, I think it was 5 specific deluxe escalations, basically exclusive escalations to deluxe owners, and they overall was not worth, was it £5 each, which they valued them at. So in each escalation you would get a suit, a weapon, and I think it was, yeah, that's it. I think a suit, weapon, and a briefcase you get with each particular one, and they wasn't anywhere near the level of standard that you should have gotten from this particular content. We should have gotten something better than this overall. And if they were just going to put out 5 escalations for deluxe owners, then why was it so expensive for that? And then a couple of months later, after they released all the deluxe escalations, they go and release and announce the DLC, which again is just more escalations. So when usually companies announce these DLCs, they usually have quite a bit of value for their money, but this just simply wasn't the case. So they are actually charging £25 additional for anyone that wants to basically play this DLC. And the DLC consists of, again, escalations accompanied with a weapon unlock, a suit unlock, and usually an item. But they're just reskins anyway, nothing really new. But overall, that's it. So they're valuing 7 escalations at £25, In the deluxe one, you had 5 escalations for £25, so in that case, you're getting a little bit more extra value. But again, I just don't think escalations are something that people really care about, especially when they've been rammed so far down our throats for the past 5 years since the first game came out, Hitman 2016, which the standard escalations were a lot better than they were. I think over the course of, especially Hitman 2, they've gotten a lot worse. In Hitman 3, they seem to be obsessed with suit restrictions and loadout restrictions, and as nice as that is a bit of a change, you shouldn't make every single escalation exactly the same. Why are you restricting our start location? Why are you restricting our suit restriction? Why can't we change disguises? Why are we have a loadout of basically nothing? You give us all of these items. There's a lot of items in the game right now, and we can't use any of them in escalation. So again, what's the point? You give us all of these items and give us all these suits, and we can't basically, well, you can wear any suit you want to, but apart from that, you can't use any of the items and you can't use any of the start locations that you've unlocked for that particular mission anyway. So again, what is the point? Why are IO Interactive so obsessed with escalations? Why are IO Interactive so obsessed with making things more difficult than they should be? A lot of casual gamers find Hitman overall as a very difficult game to play. It's only when you develop a deep understanding of its mechanics when it becomes a little bit more simpler. That's why people think, "What, Mr. Freeze, how do you make things look so easy?" It's because I have a deep understanding of the game's mechanics and how to manipulate the AI and all that kind of stuff like that. I don't have as much of a deep understanding as the speedrunners do, but I still know enough about the game to make it a lot more simple than it actually appears. But yeah, IO Interactive overall have this obsession with escalations, and for some reason obsessed with restricting your loadout, restricting your start location, and suit restrictions and all that kind of stuff. On top of that, they have an obsession with featured contracts at the moment, especially if we have 3 completely separate packs of featured contracts from different variety of communities in terms of like YouTubers and the community featured contracts and all that kind of stuff. I don't see the point of shoving these featured contracts down people's throats. It's again one of those things that people just simply really do not care about, and you are locking content, game rewards behind these featured contracts that people simply do not want to play. Because again, the casual Hitman players, the people that play just a few hours every week or so, they just simply do not want to go through a contract that has 5 targets, a very, very limited way of actually doing it, and it making it very extremely difficult for the player. Suit restrictions, specific item restrictions is not what the casual player wants to play. And again, it's locking out content and rewards that people actually want to use, but again, you're not allowing that because again, the feature contract's too difficult, escalation is becoming too difficult. It just isn't what it is, what it was before to the casual player. So another thing that bothers me as well, that a couple of these escalations have been fairly decent in the middle of the escalation. What I mean by that is, once you get to level 2 is the most enjoyable level out of all 3 levels. And then, because level 3 a lot of the time just repeats a lot of things, especially the deluxe ones anyway. And often you'd want to go back and replay level 2 because level 2 was the best experience out of all the 3 levels. And you can't just specifically go back to that particular level. You have to restart the entire escalation from level 1, and I simply don't want to do that. Saturnalia Delirium, for example. Level 2 was best level out of all the 3 levels. However, you can't just go back to level 2 and replay it. You have to, again, start from level 1, and that's just something I do not want to do. And I'm assuming that's not other people want to do it as well. So what I would specifically change about escalations is allow us to choose between each one of the 3 levels, allow us to start from any location, allow us to use whatever disguises we want to, and allow us to use any equipment we want to. If you don't want players to, if you want to use this restriction kind of thing, how about allowing the player to play these escalations once, and once you've completed it once, you can now have the freedom to use any start location you want to, any suit you want to. So it gives it a little bit more replay value overall. Otherwise, what's the point? Because you've created a game, you talk about freedom of approach and stuff like that, and the world is your weapon, but you can't use any of these weapons because it's not allowing you to start with any of these items that you've unlocked, that you've worked hard for. Again, the same with this thing with the start locations and stuff like that. So if you are taking these things away from the player, what is the point of the game? What is the point of the game mode overall? But going back to the pricing of the DLC and the Deluxe Edition from overall as a pricing point. They defended the pricing of the DLC by comparing it to the Blood Money pack from 2016. And now in Hitman 2016, if you pre-ordered the 2016 game, you would get the Blood Money pack, which involves the Blood Money suit, the Requiem, it's called the Requiem pack, but you get the Blood Money Requiem suit, you get a pale rubber duck, and you would get a chrome silver baller. And that was free for anyone that pre-ordered the game. And about 6 to 12 months down the line, they made it available for £5 on the PlayStation Store or whatever store you get your items from. And that's how they are justifying the prices of these particular escalations. If they're around £5 each or $5, they are saying with this one you get a suit, you get an item, and you get a weapon. And on top of that you get an escalation. They think that they're giving you more than what they compared it to the Requiem pack, which is complete bullshit. Because again, it was a pre-order bonus, it was free for the most players, and if you wanted to buy it and the suits mean that too much to you, you'd go ahead and buy it. So to compare it to a game that's 5 years old now, with a completely different approach to the release of that DLC, it wasn't a common thing, it was just a one-off item, it's just simply unfair. And I think the DLC is extremely overpriced. I thought the Deluxe Edition was extremely overpriced, and the Deluxe Edition players didn't even get any kind of discount towards this DLC, and I think it's just a bit of a joke overall. But that is their excuse to the pricing of the DLC itself. I think it's completely overpriced. If you are asking me, is it worth it? Absolutely not. Save your money. But then again, it depends on what money means to you. If you are someone that's rich and just casually plays Hitman and you don't care about the pricing, go ahead and play it. But I would not recommend it. Next thing I want to talk about in this particular video is elusive targets as well. Elusive targets have become very stale over the past few years. I've been saying this quite a lot in my videos, and I think it's at a point now where people care so little about elusive targets there compared to old days. In the old days, elusive targets everyone was mad for it, everyone loved them. But because we've had so many over the course of the past 5 years now, it's all become a little bit samey, and nothing has changed in regards to any of these elusive targets at all. The only thing that's changed is the length of time you have to complete them. So what I would actually try and do is they either need to be changed in some way, or if once you've completed them once, allow the player to be playing them anytime they want to. It's about time that these elusive targets either be permanently a part of the game, so the players can choose to play them again and again, or they need to be cycled every week, or something along those lines. Or again, it's otherwise elusive targets, you may as well just get rid of them because they are boring now. There's nothing to play for. Even these elusive targets, there's not even any rewards attached to them anymore. So again, people are always asking, what reward do you get with this? And I have to answer, you don't get anything. So then they come around and say, well, what's the point then? And I have to agree. If you're not going to give the players rewards to play these, basically you're bribing the players to even play these elusive targets. But now there is that bribe isn't there anymore. People just simply don't really want to play these elusive targets anymore. They're not even been very good. Especially these Hitman 3 elusive targets have been absolutely awful. They've been so simple. Oh my god, I don't know. In one hand, you got the escalations that are shown it to be obviously proven to be really difficult, and same with the featured contracts. Then you take the elusive targets and you give them about 50 million opportunities to take out these targets. So I don't know. I don't know what their thinking is behind that. But either way, the elusive targets need to go, or they need to be changed in some way. I mean, before Hitman 3 even came out, they said that they're going to change how Hitman 3 elusive targets work, and they haven't done that. They have essentially lied about that. They did say they was going to change the concept of it, and they haven't. The only thing that's changed is that you don't get any rewards anymore, and I think that's a little bit unfair. Another thing as well I wanted to talk about is another comparison between the older games and the newer one. Is every week we had a significant amount of content. When we used to get escalations every Thursday, we had about 2 escalations every Thursday. And then on the Tuesday, I think we'd have featured contracts and stuff like that. But yeah, the content has massively dropped off, especially the past few months or so, because they're leaving it's not even a monthly roadmap anymore. It's like 6 weeks or so. And we found out today that they've extended this season of Sloth an extra week. I mean, why? I think this month has been the most laziest in terms of the content itself. They're talking about season of Sloth. I really think they're trying to be. I think they're being self-aware. They're giving a little bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge when it comes to that sort of thing. Even with the Season of Greed. The Season of Greed was the first Hitman DLC in Hitman 3, and they said they knew that there was going to be an outcry about the naming of it and the pricing. And if they knew that, why did they do it as the first DLC? Knowing full well people were going to make comparisons about it, it just stinks of arrogance, and I don't like that at all. And anyway, back on track. Another thing that bothers me as well is the fact that they're at the start of Hitman 3 they removed the electrocution phone. I know I've said this before, but they removed the electrocution phone and they removed the ability to shoulder swap. The shoulder swapping is very annoying. It's just one of those things that you don't tend to use very much, but when you do want to use it, it's very frustrating that it's not there. For example, you're looking down a corridor. You're not using instinct though, but you want to look down that corridor or look behind like a doorway or something like that to see where the guard is, and you swap the shoulder to point the camera down there so you can see, but you don't have that ability anymore. And they basically said they removed it for I don't know, for whatever reason. They wanted the player to see the camera in a certain way. I don't know. Their reasoning is just stupid anyway. But either way, a lot of people are complaining about it since day one. And they said they've been taking it on board, but months and months down the line, they still haven't brought it back in the game. And they did say that it's not as simple as just turning on a button, and flip a switch, and you put it back in the game. But if you use Cheat Engine on PC, you can actually do that and put the shoulder swap back in the game. So I don't know. It's quite funny overall. But again, go back to the electrocution phone. Why remove that? If they are worried about people cheesing the elusive targets, what was they worried about anyway? Because the Hitman 3 elusive targets have no reward. There's endless opportunities to take out the Hitman 3 elusive targets. They've been incredibly easy. And if you really wanted players to not use the electrocution phone for them, then just remove that item from that particular contract. Just don't allow the player to use that particular item. Why take away a player's ability to have fun on the vast majority of the maps? Just because you didn't want players to cheese these elusive targets. What's the problem with that? Players want to have fun. It's a single player game. It's not a multiplayer game. You're not gaining a huge advantage over other people. It's not like you're wall hacking and all that, or anything like that in a multiplayer game or Call of Duty. So what was the problem with that? Why remove the electrocution phone? There was never really a reason for it either. No one gave a reason for it, and I just simply do not understand why they removed such item. But either way, what else is there to say? I'm just overall frustrated with the direction Hitman 3 is going, because it feels like they are putting less and less effort into the game, and I'm not sure what they're doing overall. Hoping that there's going to be something new next year. Hoping there's going to be a map or bonus mission down the line, but I highly doubt it. They did say that they're not making any more maps because they wanted to be Hitman 3 ending to be like a definitive kind of ending for this particular trilogy. But I don't know. They say things and they do other things, so I can't really take everything they say seriously, because a lot of the time they just lie about things. Like, if they're gonna lie about it, just don't say it at all. If you have ideas that they're talking about or discussing, don't tell the community unless it's set in stone and it's coming. For example, another thing that bothers me as well is the gold baller. People have been asking for it for about 2 years now. Where's the gold baller? Where's the gold baller? Hitman 3, we finally saw the gold baller, and it was part of the Deluxe Escalation. It was the DLC escalation, sorry, my bad. The Greed Escalation, the first one. And it is exactly what the players wanted. The people wanted that gold baller, but they didn't give it as a reward. And the only other way of getting the gold baller was in Mendoza. So you'd go into the basement area where the two guards are, you'd knock them both out, drag the bodies away, and you'd build the weapon yourself. I think 47 says everything has a place and everything in its place, and he builds the weapon and it turns out to be the gold baller. Recently, they stopped the ability for players to even do that. Now he just builds the Bartoli. What was the point of that? Why did IO Interactive remove the only way of playing with the gold baller in the game? It's not like you could take it on other missions anyway, so why did they do that? They had no reason to do that, other than just they want to keep dangling this carrot in front of the players to get people to constantly carry on playing their game. So instead of giving the gold baller to the player, they still do this fully automatic pistol that they brought into the game recently in reward to completing 40 featured contracts. And who's going to use that anyway, just because it's got a bunch of yellow rubber ducks on it? It looks ridiculous. Why couldn't they just give the player the gold baller instead? I don't know. They do things, and I'll never understand why they do them. And they say they listen to the community, but I just don't think so. I think they're constantly ignoring them. They're doing escalations because they can experiment with different things, and it's a lot easier for them to do. And they don't want to do a fully fledged out bonus mission and or a map. They say that it takes a lot of effort and stuff like that to change the stuff in the map for bonus missions, but then they go ahead and do it for the DLC anyway, and it seems like a bit of a wasted effort because players are just going to be playing these escalations once and not touching them again. It just seems like a wasted effort because there's no replayability in these ones. If you have a bonus mission, you'd be replaying them and replaying and replaying them, but it seems to be just a waste of effort doing these changes for these maps that people are not really caring about. But it is what it is. But that's overall my frustrations. I probably missed a lot of stuff as well that I haven't written down. I'll probably remember it as soon as I make this video live. But overall, let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. I'm interested to know your thoughts and opinions on this particular matter. I'm frustrated with the direction with it, and I'm hoping that future content is going to be much better. But we'll have to wait and see. There's going to be a live stream that they're going to be doing next week to reveal more content. Apparently, there's a new permanent event coming next week. There is some leaks out there already. I'm not going to go into any details because I don't want to speculate too much. But yeah, if you are interested in that, I will give you an update next week on what goes down in the live stream. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, and hit the bell notification to be notified of all future videos and live streams. Consider supporting me on Patreon or even becoming a member of the channel by clicking the join button below or clicking the link in the description. And I will see you guys in the next video. I'm going to take a lay down because I'm in a lot of pain. I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.